I think one of the major causes of stress to our body and our mind, and what I mean by stress is something that's knocking it from its natural default settings of peace, stillness, health, well-being into an uneasy state, or dis-ease, or disease as they say. I think the major contributor is toxicity, and whether that's toxic behaviour that you are partaking in and consumption, or whether it's somebody else's toxic aura, attitude, beliefs, and your relationship with that person. And sometimes it's really difficult to recognise that somebody is toxic, particularly if you've grown up with people, your family members, or people in your school or community that are toxic, because of course, as I said before, the beliefs that we have in our early years sort of grow as we get older. When we consider the amount of things that we are consuming, whether it's food or air or water, we have to remember it's not just whether it's good or healthy for us, but we have to remember that there is toxicity within it, because the very land that it's been grown on has been depleted. The rain is affecting it in a poor way. So it's not always within our control. So the more that we ensure that the things that we consume is as clean as possible, that will help our body to function, to grow, and to repair much better. And the more that we recognise people around us who are toxic in their behaviour, then that too will really bring around a complete change for you. So what is toxic behaviour? So a lot of us recognise that there are narcissists, people who put other people down constantly, that never take fault, blame or shame, people that will manipulate you or really upset you and then be really, really nice to you so that you're friends again, and then only to do the same thing over and over again and really upset you. People who say that they won't do things, who then restart and do the same thing over and over. And because you have some sort of attachment to them, or you care for them, or you think that you can help them, you stay in the same place. And a lot of people have that within both their personal relationships and indeed their work relationships, and they don't realise how much that toxic energy is affecting them. And what it will happen is that as you become a little more stressed, a little bit more anxious, your body will seek pleasure. It will seek something to feel better, doing something to feel better. And often those choices aren't great for our body or our mind. Some people consume too much nicotine or tobacco, or they take to prescription drugs or street drugs to feel better. Some people gamble. Some people engage with sex with strangers. Whatever the addiction could be, it's all brought about because of the toxic behaviour in the first instance and the need to feel better. That's how we work as humans. So if you are finding that you are in an environment where you're made to feel uncomfortable, that you're made to feel not good enough, that you're made to feel wrong in some way, then that in itself is a toxic environment. And recognising that early on is really, really important, because it stops that chain of events and stops you going into behaviours that you don't want to be going into, or spending money that you don't really want to. So how do you notice it? Well, when you first notice that you're being upset and that you're feeling angry, that's the indication that your Amy has taken over your body and mind and is now doing battle with somebody else's Amy. It's your ego. Because if you're frightened or angry, that's your stress response. And that, as I said before, isn't natural, isn't normal. So as soon as you recognize that, that's your cue to going back into recognizing I'm the true self, I'm formless, not form, I'm before and after this, not a part of it, but I am a part of it. When you recognize that all these spiritual terms that you might have heard bandied are true about you and the nature of who you are as a human being and a species, then you begin to take yourself forward and to be able to plan your best version of you. So as soon as you recognize that element of toxicity, abuse, or something undesirable, know that that's the cue to do something. Which filter are you looking through? Your Dawn filter or your Amy filter? If it's Amy, it's going to be bad. If it's Dawn, let's make it better. That's how I see things. That's how I look at life. And once you've been embroiled with the toxicity, or you've got toxic relationships within your family members, it can be really easy to slide back into behaviour patterns that you don't wish to. And sometimes you just have to let go of toxic people around you, let go of toxic habits, which can be really difficult, or you can do it like that. It's up to you. I find it particularly difficult when it's family members, people that you love and care for. And in that instance, my little analogy of loving people from afar is probably the best one, and not spending too much time with them, just enough, and be there to care for them and be there to laugh with them. But the toxic habits, don't be there for that part of them. And that's how you deal with toxicity. At the end of the day, I do believe that in this life, most of us are functioning Amy's. And that in itself is quite scary. Because if Amy's running the show on a global level, then we've got a really big problem. And in that case, my First Aid for Stress programme, I hope, will be a really good answer.